All right. How we doing? All right. Good evening, everybody. Friends, neighbors. Welcome back once again to the Rabun County Rag, where stories roll like fog through these mountains and community spirit rings clearer than any bell on a frosty morning. The air's growing crisp. The leaves are thinning. Lord, I was out there all day yesterday cleaning gutters, cutting the grass, and blowing the leaves. And there's wood smoke. I could smell it when I step out the door, drifting out of chimneys across the valley. It's that in between time, the hush before the holidays, when the land catches its breath and the mountains remind us what it means to slow down. Before we go any further, let's pause and remember why we're here. We're a community of like minded people with common interest in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We exchange ideas, resources, and information. So pour yourself a cup of coffee, ease back in the chair, and let's talk about life here in God's country. All right. Hope everybody's doing okay. Let me know if that music's too loud. Y'all send me a chat, talk me up, tell me how we're doing today, tell me how you're doing. Uh, Good to see everybody. Boy, that cold snap the other night. Whoo wee, man. What did it get down to in the teens around here? Colder than all get out. Tell you what. Hope everybody's. Uh-oh. Shoot. I guess I got to figure out what I'm doing here. I got two different things going. Anyway, here we are. I'm going to leave that up there. I got two things happening. Let me transition over. Talk to you on this one for a minute because I need to fire up something different. It's gotten cold out there. I know that. It's warmed up today though. I got out there and messed around, and a darn old wife. She got old Subaru. That thing's giving fits. Tell you, man, that's a state of Georgia coat of arms. Anyway, that old thing's giving us fits. Y'all know I got it set up. Boy, in the Subaru, it makes me wonder. I thought they were supposed to be dependable cars. Y'all let me know. I'm interested in what's going on with that. Anyway, I was just curious. It's been kind of okay. All right. But anyway, those darn old Subaru dealers. They like gold, ain't they? Well, let's see what's going on there. There we go. Yeah, I had the wrong logo up there a minute ago, and I had to address that. Y'all give me a minute. I mean, we are in the state of Georgia, but there we go. All right, I had the state of Georgia emblem up there, and I wanted to make sure we talking about Rabun County and not state of Georgia this evening. Let me know how I'm sounding. I'm trying to use this old boom microphone up here so I can talk to you without having a microphone in front of my face. Y'all send me a chat. Anyway, what's the hunting doing for you guys out there, you deer hunters? Here it is, mid-November. Rut is at full force right now, I would believe. Yeah. Y'all, how's y'all's hunting season going? Mid-November. Gun season's been open nearly a month now, and the rut is in full swing across Rabun County and the North Georgia mountains. Did a little research, me and Pluriforia, and try to find out how the season's going for the hunters. But you know how that information is. If you've got any information on how your season's going, or if you're a deer processor in the area and tuning in, let me know how you're doing. How many deer are coming in, and what size are they? How are the hunters doing out there? If you're a deer hunter, give me some feedback. The Georgia's DNR harvest map shows a solid uptick of about 12% higher statewide than the same time last year. Rabun County, we're looking at hunters reported good numbers from the War Woman and Lake Burton wildlife management areas. Reports are that bucks are chasing hard and daytime movement has been strong. Yeah, yesterday evening my wife was out there. What was I doing? Ain't no telling, but she was on the front porch and she was out there. Oh, I was cutting grass, cleaning the gutters, blowing the leaves, and they was still deer off in the yard down there in the wood line. She was taking photos of them or video or something, probably sending to the son-in-law going, hey, why come you ain't over here? But the bucks are chasing hard and daytime movement has been strong, especially after that cold snap the other day that we had earlier this week. What was that, Monday? No, it was Tuesday into Wednesday. No. What's today? Thursday? Yeah. It was Tuesday, Monday night into Tuesday. It was cold. My old truck battery, darn old truck battery. I went out there, went to getting that thing to haul off trash, and I had to go to Home Depot for something and go to pharmacy, post office. I went out there and got in that truck and hit the switch, and it went click, 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 click. Any of y'all know what that means? So anyway, I had to borrow the wife's car, the Subaru, and did all that running around. I went in the post office and cranked that thing up and started backing out, and it was running rough. Give me a code P0170 or 171. Anyway, it says something. Could have a bad mass error sensor, mass error, a bad mass or map. And I got out there, checked those things. They seemed to be all right. Looked for anything I could find, and I'm not mechanically inclined. Called those Subaru dealer, and he says, you can bring it in on the 24th, which is 11 days from now. And he says, we'll get on it shortly after that. God almighty. So got the truck going and the Subaru laid down. So anyway, how'd they get off on all of that? We talking about deer hunting. Y'all, I need your help. Y'all send me a message, say, hey, Scott, stay on track, man. And we got a little dust and a snow the other day. What was that? It was on Monday, because I drove back from Clarksville, Tennessee. Had a little nephew. He got married. My father drove up from St. Simon's, and then I took the reins and drove that mule over the old Ocoee River Valley and over to Chattanooga and on up to Nashville and points onward till we got to Clarksville. And he had to be a part of the rehearsal, and I just tagged along. And boy got married on Saturday. Went to church Sunday with a sister, and here I'm off on the daggum rabbit path again, off the main script. Anyway, if somebody can get on here and tell, if I don't have somebody to help keep me straight, ain't no telling where I'll go. I'm sitting here playing with this coffee cup. Anyway. Went to the funeral, wedding on Saturday, and family got together at Sis's house on Sunday morning after church, had a little lunch, and spent the day visiting with them, and then we checked out about 8:30 or so on Monday morning and drove back, and it got colder and colder and ran across snow flurries, especially going across the old Mont Eagle over there. Anyway, we beat it home as the temperatures plummeted, and then it snowed, and we got a good dusting here at the house, but darn if it didn't get cold. And then my darn heat pump in the upstairs unit was giving me trouble. So that's another thing I was doing yesterday, running around trying to get another startup capacitor for that thing, and got that going, got the battery fixed, got the grass cut and leaves blowed, and now the Subaru laid down on us. So anyway, that's the way she shakes out. How about some pro tips for this late rut? Y'all give me some, give me something in the chat. Let me know what your tips are for hunting in the late rut. Y'all forgive me sipping and slopping. Well, I believe I got some grounds and all coffee today. Unless this is Copenhagen washing around out of Anyway, late rut. You can see the old travel corridors down there off the back here where they're sneaking around down there, going to the X food plot, still looking. believe there's some mineral down there too. I'm not for certain. I don't go down there. That's old son-in-law's thing. He wants to do that. If I was hungry enough, I reckon I could take old rifle out there and look out the bedroom window, and when I see him, crack the door and get me one. But there ain't nothing sporting in that. Of course, there ain't nothing sporting in being hungry either. But anyway, uh, yeah, the deer were hungry after that heavy freeze, and again after all that heavy chasing. Uh, you know, I got usually old grunt calls sparingly. Uh, bucks are bucks are wary, but they're still curious. Don't bleed away on a thing. Just give it a little hit and maybe rattle some antlers or something. When it's cold out, hunt midday. Many mature bucks cruise after the crowd goes to bed, so to say. After the ladies lay down to take a nap after a hard night of being chased around down out there. All right, yeah, but don't forget that scent control now. This old cooler air. It's warmed up today. I believe it got into the 60s, low 60s. But don't forget your scent control. Cold air carries scent further. I don't know how much stock y'all put in that scent control. I had old cousin shot more deer wearing the same clothes he'd wore to the bar the night before. You could smell the stale beer on him and have a daggum camel dangling out of the corner of his mouth. I think he killed more deer than anybody I ever knowed. But I guess it's what you put into it. Let's see. We got December and January. We got about 2 more months of firearm deer season open, and the same with bear. Rabbit season opens up Sunday, November 15th. If y'all got any better information than I got, y'all let me know. Send me a chat. Trapping opens up December 1st, unless you're doing it on private land. And then I believe there's some regulations for license and things like that. Small game, the squirrel and the raccoon, both been strong this year. I think somebody fed me some raccoon many, many, many moons ago, but it's vague. I know I've had that old possum before, and it just, man, I don't know if it was the thought of it being a possum or the way it really tasted that kind of offset me. I ate it, though, out of politeness. I had an old buddy of mine I worked with me and doing the old postal contract thing, and he always left one foot on his game when it was in the freezer so he'd know what he's fixing to be eating when he went to the freezer. 1 foot, it'd be a squirrel foot, a possum foot, a raccoon foot. He'd always have 1 foot on it. But anyway, how about the fishing? Anybody got any fishing going on? Man, I ain't been fishing yet. The only thing I got left to put to bed, I got to cut the meadow up top and till in them wildflower beds and zinnia beds, and pick some wildflower seeds and zinnia seeds and put them away for spring. Put those beds to bed, and then the garden. I got some old collard green trees out there. Boy, it looks like it got a big old thick stalk on it, and it grows up, and then the old leaves come. I had some of them collard greens. I told you all about it, I think. Hey, by the way, I apologize for not being here last Thursday night. It gave me a high level of angst knowing that I didn't make it, but I was traveling that day going up to the wedding up there, and man, I'm sure sorry. I I know the few viewers or the passerbyers that come by uh, will sure miss me, and I apologize to y'all, and I'll make a better effort. You know, I've always said on this channel, if there's somebody want to join in on this, they could be a co-host, and they can, if I'm out of town or got something to do, they can sit the seat and do it. I'll give them all the information on this YouTube channel. Let them be a part of it and get out there and broadcast in my stead. It'd be just fine with me. But once again, I do apologize for not being with y'all last Thursday. Anyway, we was headed down the path of trout fishing in this colder weather. It's my time there. I like to do my fishing. You know, the weather is a little uncomfortable for them fair weather campers, and it's a lot less crowded on the streams, and the fish you hook into seem to be a little smarter, a little stronger. They made it through that first round of survival, so they're a little smarter, a little stouter, and a lot more fun to catch. So I need to be out there. I might even keep enough to have me a nice meal of trout. What's y'all's favorite way to cook your trout? Me, I kind of like to flay them out, pan sear them in a lot of butter, and lay some almonds on it, and have some trout almondine. I make it in a cast iron skillet now, but I like that. That's good. Anyway, let me know what you think. How you like your trout? I'd like to know about it. But these colder temps mean clearer water, and oh, you know what else happened yesterday? The darn power went out about 4 o'clock in the morning yesterday. So not only that, yesterday was quite a task. Power went out about 4 a.m. and I was going to get up. I had a heavy day of editing to do before I went and did all that other stuff, but I was dead in the water. So I came down here for 2 or 3 hours and sat in the darn dark and watched YouTube videos. Boy, what a day that was. I'm glad I didn't get tore out of the frame too bad. That darn battery was $250. Anybody bought a battery lately? He says, well, I got one in stock unless you want to wait for a Primo. I said, you mean that's a less expensive battery? He goes, oh, no. I said, give me what you got. I can get the hell up out of here. I'm glad I did the way that darn Subaru went down on me. Just lucky. Lucky I did that. Whew. Anyway, colder weather means clear water and pickier trout. But if you know where to look, you can still find steady action. Some of the best bets are Tallulah River, stocked heavy from the hatchery. You just got to target those slower pools with small spinners or live bait. I got a bucket full of worms. I got them early spring. It might have been last winter. But I got them in a coffee can over there. Throwed a little dirt and some cardboard and paper. Throw apples in there every now and then. I got to punch the holes. It's all metal. No, this one ain't metal. The first one I had them in was metal and the bottom rusted out. So now I got them in the plastic one. See, y'all go ahead and try and rust out on that. But anyway, I checked them the other day. They seem to be doing all right. I ain't smelt nothing bad in the basement. I've kept them down here in the basement with me so that they had good regulated temperature, I might say. In Lake Burton tailwaters, if you're going for those trout, deep drift rigs with midges and pheasant tail work well. It's old Lake Burton tailwaters. That's down there on that road. What is that? Right, Burton Dam Road back over there. It's hard to find a place to fish all that private property down through there. I need to do some more research. And then, of course, there's the old standbys that I started on out. The ones that I started out on up here is Wildcat Moccasin Creek. You got to keep low. You can't let them see you standing in those shallow streams, and then just match the natural colors with your flies. Or you can use live bait or worms or whatever. All right. Another cold weather tip is 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. is probably the best time. Water brightens up, and you might get an afternoon hatch somewhere in there, some kind of midge hatching. And make sure you got a light leader. And keep the flies small. Did I show y'all last week my old flies I was working on? Oh, these are hard to see, and it stays out. Let me go to this other camera, see if y'all can see these. All right. There you go. Let's see. Focus, you poo. There you go. That's old cuff I made from stuff I had laying around the house. And those are the ones I fished with, and I've added a couple that I made. I thought about getting on here and tying a few flies. If somebody wants to express an interest, I may very well do that. I can't get the focus worth a poo-poo. Anyway, there she is. Got a little old trout emblem on there. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me switch this other camera again. Let's see. Yeah, it got trout on it. Painted with, I tried to paint it with them old, no, this ain't it. Just green. Just kind of, that old freshwater moss that grows. I just painted this old piece of old scrap leather. Let me show you. And I got a bunch of these things. It's just a piece of leather. You get them in strips, and I got to put this little piece on here. It's got 2 snaps on it. Got 2 snaps. One if I'm not wearing a coat, and if I'm wearing the coat, I got another strap on it so that it can reach a little further. And it just rests on your wrist, and that way them old bugs can dry out when you go to change tactics. Anyway, keep them small. I think those are 18s or 22s. I don't know what size they're. So I'd have to go back and look at the hook pack. Make sure you keep yourself warm now and dress in layers. I've gotten where I use a hip waiter a lot more than old chest waiter. Those darned old hip waiters, I got tired of wearing the Depends. Them things got expensive, So, let me change back. Yeah, I used to wear them old hip waders and put on a pair of sweatpants or something under there to try and stay comfortable. But, yeah, I find out, because I never get more than knee deep. As old as I am, I'd fall in some of that stuff and never be able to get myself out with them old hip waders. But anyway, dress in layers, and always carry dry socks in your truck. Cold water trout fishing is as much about patience and skills. And sometimes the best catch is the peace that comes standing knee deep in a mountain stream with your breath fogging in the morning light, brother. People say, you trout fish quite a bit. And I said, well, I don't know. Sometimes it hits me hard and sometimes it don't. But I'm mostly there for the scenery. I just love getting out there in nature. I do it at least 3 days a week, spend a couple hours out in nature. It's always something, no time or money. Hey, don't forget your don't forget your safety skills out there, boys and girls. And when you're gun hunting, uh, you know, uh, you focus on field readiness and weather awareness. Check your gear before you hunt. A frozen trigger or a fog scope can ruin more than a morning. And make sure you dress in layers. I got 3 layers on. I got old cotton shirt. I wouldn't hunt in these necessarily, but then again, I'd liable to hunt. When I used to hunt, I fish in this stuff. I don't care. I don't need to get all that tactical gear on to go do all that. I'm out there for the scenery, and the harvest is just part of the bliss. But do dress in layers. I got an old T-shirt on I wear every day and a regular shirt, and it's kind of cold down here in the man cave, so I got this old long sleeve thing on that I try and keep warm with while I'm sitting down here. I've been down here all day, I think. Yeah, I spent a couple hours messing around with that darn old Subaru. Somebody send me a message. Let me know what their experience or opinion is on them Subaru cars. This is a 2015 Subaru. It's 10 years, got 123,000 miles on it. Done had the front end beat out of it and replaced, and had a couple sets of tires. Probably need some brakes, but right now I need to get that engine business done so the wife can get back and forth to her chores and errands. Uh, Anyways, tell someone where you're going when you go deer hunting. Tell them where you're headed and when you plan to return. That's important. You may get out there and there ain't no cell service. Might be around here. I find a place every now and then. Back up there in the hills and the hollers. But make sure you let somebody know where you're going and when you tend to come back. And keep hand warmers and a small first aid kit in your pack. Just some band-aids, butterfly band-aids, some gauze, something like that. And hand warmers, them come in awful handy. I think somebody I know's got darn electric socks. I never cared much for those. Felt like I could always feel them wires digging into my skin. But anyway, keep warm the best you can. And remember, no deer is worth the risky shot. A clean miss beats a careless accident. So, y'all be wary out there while you deer hunting. That old cold snap the other day got me thinking. I said, I can't ever remember being this cold this early in the year, or since I've been up here, having snow that early in the year. And so, this old microphone trying to cut out some of that noise. But we're going to do the best we can. Let me look at this. Y'all bear with me. How am I sounding? Looks like I'm getting out there okay. Anyway, got me thinking about it. And I said, I wonder how this compares to weather over the years. Some of you old timers been around here for a while. Hopefully there's some 70 and 80-year-olds tuning in and just sitting around the old fire and having a chit chat. And, if you want to send me a message somehow while you're looking at your phone, I know what it is. Most people just sitting there scrolling, and it may be hard for me to keep attention. My dad was here, boy. I thought I was bad about it. Boy, he got that finger right here, that thing just a train, flipping through it, and he'd turn the TV up, and then he'd turn the phone up so he could hear the video that he wanted to watch, and then he'd turn the TV. I apologized to my wife. I said, I'm sorry. Now I know how you look at me. But anyway, we had the first snow on November 11th. Uh, Germany Valley National Weather Service station reports 64.8 inches of rain so far this year and a half an inch of snow. Now, it might have come from back in January, plus that dusting we got. Some of the old timers say early snow means a long winter. And with a strong northern jet stream pattern forming, this season could bring more snow than average, particularly in December and January. We could expect cold snaps followed by brief thaws, much like the winter of the early 2000s. Oh, with that being said, y'all, anybody got old Ben Franklin's book, The Farmer's Almanac? If y'all got that up, y'all look back through there, and I've heard the persimmon prediction that the persimmon seeds had shovels or spoons or whatever versus forks, and it's predicting a lot of cold and a lot of snow this year. But anyway, so go ahead and stock up on firewood and check your propane and get ready. Winter's softly knocking on the cabin door. All right. I used to do a lot of camping up there on Moccasin Creek, and there's one of them old trails or roads you can take, and there's some old ruins back there, and there's a couple other ones along some of the trails I walk, and they tell me that's remnants of the old CCC camps. They called it the Civilian Conservation Corps. And so I asked Pluriforia to do a little research and read through it. And, during the Great Depression, President Roosevelt's Civilian Conservation Corps, or known as the CCC, came to Raven County and forever shaped our landscape. For 9 years, from 1933 to 1942, CC camps at Toledo Falls, Clayton, and Lake Burton put young men to work planting trees, building fire towers, carving roads, and creating the very recreation areas we enjoy today. Black Rock Mountain State Park, Moccasin Creek, and War Woman Dale all bear their mark. Now, those guys, you think you ain't making no money today? Them old boys made $30 a month. And they didn't get to keep that either. $25 was sent home to their family. And they left, and them boys left behind trails, bridges, and conservation ethics that became the backbone of our national forest. Today the Chattahoochee National Forest, and that's covering nearly 20% of Raven County, and I thought it was more than that for some reason. I thought it was more like 70%. If you know for certain, and some of you people around here have been around here for a while, let me know if that number is accurate. I don't think so. It seems like to me that I read one time that 70% of the county is Chattahoochee National Forest, or another national forest, or a combination of what's that other one across the river over there? Sumter. You got Chattahoochee. You got Cherokee National Forest. Some of you have been around here a long time and know the area better than I do. Let me know about that number. But they say here 20% of Raven County still stands as a living monument to the labor and the vision. Them old boys, I tell you what, could you imagine living on $5 a month? Heck, man. man, I spent $250 on a darn battery today. What? But ain't none of them had no batteries. Them boys work from sun up to sundown, and then I hope they wore themselves out, 'cause I imagine it got awful dull and boring around there in the evenings, sitting around the campfire when it was cold and sweating like a fool when it was sweltering up here, and the skeeters and everything else living out there in the woods. You think you got it rough? Mm-hmm. Think, be grateful for what you have today. Be grateful for everything you got, because it could be different. I'm not going to say that was worse. I'm sure they built friendships, and then some of them turned around and went to war. The greatest American generation. All right, let's not forget about our friends at Foxfire. The Foxfire Museum and Heritage Center continues to expand its living exhibits. But somebody said this fall they added a traditional syrup making demonstration and a rotating mountain music series on weekends. I don't know about all that. That's just something I kind of read. If you represent the Foxfire, get on here and share with us what's going on with the Foxfire community. Uh, Back to the historical part, I saw Sheriff, what's his name, Gerald's. He did a little interview on the Facebook thing with the Rabun County Historical Society, and I believe they were talking about the railroad and how important that railroad was to this community. You know, that thing ran for, what, 50 years or something like that? Hauled a lot of timber out of here, hauled a lot of those dams that are built up here. They hauled all that stuff into here from the quarry. They moved a lot of freight. Anyway, we were talking about the exhibits up there at Foxfire, and they're having all kinds of things. If you've never been, wander up to Mountain City and walk through the old log cabins. Every beam tells a story of the hands that worked and the hearts that endured. I'd like to go up there again. It's been a long time for me. If anybody out there, any of y'all that's intimately involved with that Foxfire business, I sure would like to hear about it. Y'all send me a message. Maybe you can get on here. We can have maybe have you on, and you could talk about it. Let's promote that thing. It's important to maintain that heritage and all those skills. All right, we got some stuff going on. We had the U.S. Veterans Appreciation Dinner. Over 300 guests filled the Dillard House on 6 November, honoring the veterans and featuring. I met this old boy one time, former Governor Nathan Deal. He was a speaker. Good for him. I met him at old what was that, Tea Party rally one time out in Douglas County. And I stood there and talked to him for about, I don't know, 5-10 minutes when he was running for governor. Or was he running for Senate? Might be running for Senate. He's just out there collecting all kind of government paychecks, wasn't he? Anyway, I was talking to him about state right, and then his wife, Mrs. Deal, grabbed me by the arm. I guess I was occupying too much of his time, and she led me off and led me around and talked about their pig raising experience. Their old hog farmer said, we got one hog and we ended up having 1,000. She's a sweet old lady. And then some old bald-headed military dude thought I done occupied too much of her time, and he kind of dragged her off and left me to wander about under my own power to my own demise, probably. Anyway, yeah, man, old Hermit Kane and all them folks was out there for that tea party. I tell you what, boy, they're the first ones started shaking this business up, and I'm proud of them. Uh, I think the old MAGA movement probably originated from the old Tea Party. Maybe we ought to have us another Tea Party. What y'all think? Let me know. Anyway, it's a beautiful show of patriotism. Thank you for coming, Governor Deal. We appreciate it. And a beautiful show of patriotism and community pride. Let's see. Thanksgiving dinners and catering. The Blue Ridge Music Academy and local restaurants are now taking pre orders for Thanksgiving meals and catering. So if y'all need some catering done, give them a buzz. No, I got an itch in my ear. Y'all excuse me a minute. We had some teachers that were uh, recognized Raven County Teachers of the Year. Congratulations, Sharon Latrell. Uh-oh. Yeah, hey, y'all, it's a spam caller. Let's get on. Hello? Hello? If you're going to call me up, please talk to me. Oh, man. That is a large disappointment that they're not going to talk to me. Ah, crap. I was hoping we could have some fun with Habib from Lulash or from wherever them world them guy calls me up. Hi, this is Barry from Montana. I'm calling about, are you eligible? Do you have Part A or Part B? Do you have Part A and Part B? Then he'll say, well, how old are you? And I said, Barry. And I'll always call him Habib. I said, Habib, if I have Part A and Part B, how old do you think I would be? Anyway, they normally hang up on me. But anyway, congratulations to Sharon Latrell. She's the system teacher of all the year. And all the honorees to their dedication to our youth. Thank you, teachers. I know that you stuck between the daggum teachers union and nagging parents, and all you ever wanted to do when you was growing up and going to school was to teach children, and then you have to get into that darned old political arena. I appreciate you getting out there and doing it, okay? And so do the rest of us. All right, thank you. Now, there's a fundraiser going on at the Persimmon Church of God, and it's a reprint. And boys, girls, y'all ought to be real interested in it. It's a reprint of hunting, fishing, cooking with our men, and it's now on sale. A fine gift for any outdoorsman's shelf. That's a nice cookbook. I think I need to try and get me one of them darn things. Written by men, and it's hunting, fishing, and cooking with our men. That's good. It's about time some men got some recognition for the fine hunters and the providers that we are. Thank you, Persimmon Church. God, thank you. I need to look at it, maybe get me one. Y'all need to know anywhere how I can get one? Let me know. Send me a message. Oh, Uncle Leroy. Sorry. Uncle Leroy said he figured out how to call a deer. Here, deer, 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 here, deer, deer. No, he's a little different. He just walks into the wood and sneezes. Says that, and it says they always come out to see who's allergic to them. Oh my God. Lord, Lord, Lord. Oh, Grandma Pearl says she don't need a GPS for trout fishing. She just follows the sound of men arguing about bait. Ain't that the truth? What you fishing with? He's 10 feet away from you. You're just using your lips, ain't saying a word. What? It's what? If y'all know anything about that, let me know. Yeah, it's a darn old crazy thing around here. Around here, when you say you're tracking a big one, half the time it means a big buck. The other time it's your cousin who still owns you a chainsaw or $50. All right. Hey, saw that I guess it's Haversham Electrical Membership Corporation. Congratulations to their crews out there, the linemen who just celebrated 8 years without a lost time accident. Me being in the safety profession, I think that's a pretty notable thing there, to be honest with you. 8 years, yeah. 8 years, no accidents, and they're true safety heroes. All right. Raven County Schools for honoring their teachers and scholars with heart. And to all our veterans, Veterans Day just snuck by us. May your stories continue to light our way. Let's see, we talked about the old CC camp, and I'd love to hear some stories about some of where these camps are. What's your favorite CCC trail or old park to visit around Raven County? Maybe you've got a parent or a grandparent who worked at one of these camps. I'd love to hear some of the stories about what some of them young men do to entertain themselves. That's a family program, but I don't know. I sure like to hear about them. Y'all send me some messages if you catch this on the rebroadcast or you scroll by on later on. Let me know. Send me a message, and heck, we'll share them next week. I'll put them in the format. I'll put them in the script, and we'll talk about them. I guess any community you live in, it's going to be special. But so many people today, they don't have a sense of community, and that's a darn shame. I guess but here in Raven County, we can still have a community, and I'm working real hard, and I guess I could do a little more, but I'm giving an hour a week, and plus a couple hours in show prep and things like that to try and build a little community here. Maybe somebody, if you Google Raven County, maybe old Raven County rag come up. That'd be nice. And the rag. It's old ham radio operator term. Way back before there were TV, they had amateur radio operators. I don't even know if they had to have license back then. These old boys would twist together some wire and get an old crystal from somewhere and plug it into that wound wire and put in some earphones, and they didn't communicate by voice, but they sure had that old CW beep 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 beep, and they could send a signal, and they would talk to each other, and they would share what's going on in their community, whether the river was up or the river was down, where the crops were coming in, how the deer hunting was going, and they did it via radio, and they called it chewing the rag. So that's the reason I called it this. There's others, but it worked out well. I enjoy getting on here and talking to y'all. It gives me something creative to do with my times, being semi-retired, and I'd like to see this grow up and be a real community service. Not only do we get on here and talk about living here in the mountains and being resourceful and all that, it's also a place where we can come and if we got trades to trade, if we're a tradesman, we I got some doors that need to be put in up here at the house. Excuse me. Now, I talked to his son-in-law about it, and he's got a little old business, Mountain Works is the name of his business. If y'all need some concierge service, if you live up there on the lakes, or if you got a property you need help maintaining, he does all kinds of carpentry work, and he's got contacts and contractors that he's aware of, and he'll get you set up. And but anyway, I talked to him about installing doors, but I reckon the young man's busy and hadn't had much time to get me a price on installing the doors. I'm going to buy the doors at Home Depot. I need to put 3 in. I got these old French doors. They're wooden. They're falling apart. They've been out there on the house for 20 years now, and they're about done. And my wife liked to replace them with some sliding glass doors so she can get some ventilation. She wants to put a storm door on the front of the house and put these sliding glass doors on the back of the house so that in milder weather she can open up and get some air circulation in the house. But I'm ready to pull the trigger on them doors. I'm just looking for some able-bodied and a knowledgeable person to come in and put those doors in. So that's one of the things we can do here on this channel. If you got sliding glass doors for sale, or I could come look at them, I might want to buy them instead of going to the big box. If you got an old tractor you'd like to get shed of, some old boy might have something like that to restore. I've bought hay for the garden to put in for mulch. I've bought a disc from a disc harrow. I ain't made it yet, but I got designs on turning it into one of them discatas that our Latino brothers and sisters use to cook in what they call El Campo on fire. And it's you weld in that hole in the middle, put some handles on it, and you can stir fry in that thing like a Chinese wok on open fire. And that's what my intent is. I'm going to build an old fire table out there, and maybe I'll get that done before I grow too old and decrepit. But maybe y'all can come along on that journey with me. But if you've got something if you're a craftsman and you want to advertise and talk about the kind of things you do, there might be somebody on here that could use your knowledge and expertise and body to come out there and do some work for them. It's all kinds it's wide open. You could buy and sell on here. We'll just let people know what you got. We ain't doing no buying or selling, but we're communicating. If you've got something that wants to go one way or the other, we'll let you know about it. If there's a neighbor in need, an elderly couple that needs some work done on their house, maybe we could form a work party and go down there and get them set up before the winter sets in. If you got chickens, hey man, you might want to get rid of some of those chickens. Some, rooster in the pan. You got baby chicks you want to get rid of. You got some older hens that quit laying. They're ready for the pot. You can let somebody know that. You got some fryers. You got a beef for sale that you take up here to Blaylock or whoever it is, and let them process it for you. I want it to be a place where we can share resources, exchange information, about what's going on in the community, so we could be helping each other and being a real community, build bonds and relationships that last more than just the time we're here on earth. Maybe children and grandchildren will get to know uh, each other and have a lifetime relationship, all because we got together right here on the Rabun County Rag. But first and foremost, we are a community of like minded people with common interests in hunting, fishing, protecting our community, culture, families, and environment. We come here to exchange ideas, resources, and information. As the mountains trade their colors for the quiet tones of winter, remember this: the strength of a community isn't in its noise, it's in its connection. Thank you for spending another Thursday evening with me here on the Raven County Rag, where we honor the land, our people, and the stories that bind us together. Now, until next week, keep your rifles sighted, your reels ready, and your hearts thankful. Most of all, I'm signing off from the heart of the mountains where the hills are always talking. And most of all, as always, have a grateful day. And we will see you next time. Thanks for watching, folks. God bless you.